The divine man, the divine Son, is and ever has been perfect and complete in his own essential nature as the only begotten of the Father. And even as the sun ever shines in the glory of the heavens, though his light may be hidden from us by the clouds and storms of our terrestrial sphere, so that divine light which emanates from the source and root of our being shines behind and within our human nature, but can only shine through, in proportion as we clear away the grossness of our physical and lower nature, in which the pure rays of spirit are blurred and distorted, or altogether lost. The vibrations of the lower must be attuned to those of the higher, before the outward man can act in the power of his inner nature. And as the sun loses not of his glory and splendor, though the rays which he sends to this earth are absorbed or lost in the grossness of the material world, so neither does the divine ego lose aught of its essential nature, though the ray which incarnates in each one of us as the informing principle of our present personalities may be blurred and marred, or lost altogether in the darkness of our physical mind, or the mire of our sins. If that ray be withdrawn or wholly lost, the man dies the soul death, though among his fellows he may have a name that he lives. These are the withered branches that are cut off from the vine. There is nothing immortal in our nature save that which is divine, or which can assimilate itself with the divine. And that divine light, which is the Christ, vibrates through the whole universe, not in man only, but in every atom of matter also. And as it vibrates there, the matter responds, begins to unfold, to seek outward towards the light which seems to come as an external sensation. Thus we get what is now called evolution. All evolution is religion. It is the seeking back to the divine. At first unconscious, in our limited sense of the term, in mineral and stone, then expanding into larger sensation in the lowly forms of life in plant and cell. And as the organism becomes responsive to the vibrations, the impulse passes on to forms of ever-increasing beauty and complexity. From vegetable to animal, from animal to man, ever and ever molding the organism into higher and higher manifestations. The one life works in and through all. But man, as we now know him, is still imperfect, is still only halfway on the great journey. And up to now, that one life, working in his nature, is felt after rather than perceived. It is an instinct giving rise to religion, rather than a true knowledge of his own nature. It is regarded as an external object of search and worship, and is not recognized as the real self. But now let those who can step from the exoteric to the esoteric. Let them no longer look outside for that which dwells within. Let them no longer look in the outward expanse of space or of time for that kingdom of heaven which cometh not by observation. Let them look beneath the surface of this changing world of phenomena, for the changeless being from which all phenomena spring. Let them no longer rely on historical events, but on ever-present verities. Historical events are but the accidents of eternal verities. The eternal verities of Christianity, if indeed we can apply that term to this teaching, which so much transcends the common acceptation, are neither the historical narratives of the Gospels, nor yet any event that can be looked forward to as a particular external phenomenon. The very fact of these being time phenomena precludes them from the category of eternal verities. Time phenomena are but the symbols of the everlasting noumenon. There never was a time since man became man that the birth of the Christ was not. And mystic as that birth is, deeply hidden in the mystery of our spiritual and divine nature, it could only be dimly presented in the myth of an Immaculate Conception. It was thus represented ages before the Church appropriated the myth and materialized and debased it by making it an actual physical birth of a particular man. There never was a time since man became man that the Christ was not crucified and resurrected. For that also is a symbol of an ever-present fact of our dual nature, human and divine. And insofar as the personal Jesus enables us to understand the character of the Christ, whether by his actual life and example, or by the mystical and allegorical events which have been attached to his personality, we are able to accept his mission and teaching at their true value and for their own sake, apart from the authority and dogma with which they have become invested. But the revelation of the Christ is not limited to Jesus of Nazareth. Otherwise, Paul could not have written that our fathers drank of a spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Christ. Neither is our salvation accomplished by the mission of Jesus of Nazareth, but by the indwelling Christ, fulfilling that mission in all humanity and in all ages. Thus Jesus, also speaking as the Christos, says to the Jews, "Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. Verily, verily I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am." No clearer indication than this could possibly be given that the day of the Christ is not identical with the mere historical life of Jesus of Nazareth. That life only personifies the work of the Christ from the beginning and through all time.